Hello and welcome to Manhattan Gold Corporation's webinar that Sharewise is hosting today. With me, I have Bay Rezos, the General Manager at Manhattan Gold. So, a brief introduction to Manhattan Gold. It's an early stage gold and polymetallic exploration company focused on emerging exploration projects in Tier 1 jurisdictions. So, their current big project is the Hook Lake project in Nunavut, Canada. They also have a project in Tibooburra in New South Wales in Australia, and another property in Western Australia called Ponton that will be briefly touched upon as well. Bay, why don't we get started? Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony, and thank you all really for joining the call today. Excited to be presenting on Manhattan Gold. The company's gone through quite a significant shift in the last year, and so excited to be really talking about the changes that have happened and what we're doing for the next 6 months or so. As Anthony briefly mentioned at the start, for those that don't know, Manhattan, the company's been listed for 20 odd years. Within that, before really my time, the company's had two exciting assets within the business, that being Tibooburra and Ponton. Tibooburra is 220 kilometers of strike extent within the Koonenberry Gold District in New South Wales. So heavily underexplored, but exciting region to be in. There's a farming agreement that we have currently with Novo Resources that's progressing really well. And then there's the southern licenses, which is really a deep-seated fault line, 100% for us to explore, and never been drill tested. So a lot of potential there. Really, it's up to us to work on getting access to that area now with the landholders. But once that is agreed, then a lot of potential with Tibooburra. For Ponton, similarly, it's a substantial uranium deposit. I believe it's the 8th largest in WA. There's a significant, really upside potential there for us. It's cheap for us to hold on to, but really subject to the laws of exploration for uranium in WA. So if things were to change there, the accretive value for the company is significant. Really what I've been focusing in on today is Hook Lake. That's because that's where we've just kicked off our 2026 exploration program. There are 12 prospects across the project, being 665 square kilometers, and it currently sits within the second largest greenstone belt in Canada. That is the Rankin-Ennadai greenstone belt. It includes Jaws, which is the foreign resource currently on the project, and several other orogenic gold targets and VMS deposits, or volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits. So mentioned earlier, but we're going to be really focusing in on Hook Lake for this presentation. We've just kicked off the 2026 exploration program. Very excited about the project. Second largest greenstone belt in Canada, heavily underexplored, but really surrounded by some significant gold mining peers. For the likes of Agnica Eagle's Meliadine Mine and BG Gold's Vickers deposit, closest to us, both within the same greenstone belt as well. For those that don't know, Hook Lake was brought in by Gavin Rezos and Eric Sondergaard as vendors. Eric is the man on the ground in Canada, really operating doing the geology and doing the maintenance on the project in Canada. Eric has worked on the project for several years prior to it coming into Manhattan, really working on trying to digitize the historic resource, bringing the 1980 drilling data that was done to develop the foreign resources currently on the project. That being Jaws, and the current resource there is 285,000 ounces at 2.3 grams per ton gold. So we completed a raise late last year and earlier this year, so we have a quite healthy cash position to be focusing in on the exploration program we want to do now. that being 4,000 meters of RC drilling, channel sampling, and till sampling. So I guess with the significant change in this last year with Hook Lake coming in, I expect there's also been a change in management for the company. Gavin has joined as non-exec chairman. Danielle Kelly recently joined as Ned with strong experience across the junior mining industry, particularly largely in gold as well. Kel Nielsen, who was CEO, has now moved on to be non-exec director of the company, maintaining his position as the competent person really for our JORC compliance statements. And then Eric is the technical advisor. As I said before, he and Sam Vaughan, who's the field geologist, are currently in Canada. They're really the ones operating the Hook Lake project from a geology perspective. I want to really touch in on, give you a bit of color on Nunavut and why it's exciting. We think it's a really exciting region to be in. Firstly, it's really an excellent community and regulatory landscape. These are hard-working environmental communities that really see mining as a transition to being a revenue-generating economy. They've gone through quite a historic devolution within the Canadian government, so they can have control of their lands and rights, and the lands that they own are often around these heavily mineralized zones. So we have these agreements in place with them to be exploring, and really the agreements are based on the fact that you will be doing right by the community and the environment for them, and so it's very much a two-way working relationship, but it's also a long-term relationship. So we have 2 exploration agreements currently with the 2 communities there. That's sitting at that's an exploration agreement for 20 years. We also earlier this year completed the screening decision from the Nunavut Impact Review Board, so that assesses the project from an environmental and social perspective. So that was cleared, and then really what happens from then on is a rubber stamping process with the Canadian government and the Inuit owned landholders to give us the permits for drilling, and so we have those permits for 7 years now. We're also seeing quite a significant shift in really the economic environment in Nunavut across really all Arctic territories. So, you need only look at what the US is saying about Greenland and what Canada is really talking about with their Arctic territories and across the north. The government is heavily investing in these regions, the Northwest Territories and Nunavut in particular, with a real aim, obviously, to try and improve population density, defense infrastructure, and minerals exploration or mineral security as well. So the government are investing in, here you can see all season long roads and further deep sea ports in the Arctic. This is a significant one being the Grays Bay Road and Port project, where our project is down here in the southeast. You can see there's hydrofiber links going through the major towns near us, being Arviat and Rankin-Ennadai. So these are significant investments in infrastructure, really, to try and keep people in Arviat, in Rankin-Ennadai, and happy and working. They're also investing in the more social costs as well. So there's a university going in, an Inuit-led university going in Arviat. And then there's also additional childcare benefits and healthcare benefits being invested in these territories. All that to say, I believe these populations are growing quickly. Arviat's one of the fastest growing populations in Canada. All working populations, and again, see mining as a real benefit to becoming a revenue generating economy. I talk a little about the peers around us as well in Nunavut. So I touched on at the start that we're in the second largest greenstone belt in Canada, the Rankin-Ennadai greenstone belt. These peers around us have the same geology as what Hook Lake has. And you can see here the BG Gold Vicus deposit. These deposits include their measured and inferred resources, but sizable sizable deposits. I believe the BG Gold deposit is 1.5 at 2 grams per ton for the measured resource. Agni Eagles resource sitting at 5 million ounces, and they're pouring 400,000 ounces annually. And then you've got even the BT Gold Back River District project as a massive deposit sitting in northwest of Nunavut. So all sizable gold mines around us, all with the same geology that we're working with. So I'm going to run through quickly basically the plan for the 2026 field season and the key targets for us. So for us, it's really, we've got 4,000 meters varsity drilling. 3,000 of that, or the majority of that, will go into Jaws, which sits here in the middle. That's because obviously there's the foreign resource historic estimate there. So we really want to be testing the depth of the system that's only been tested to a very shallow depth. I believe 190 vertical meters is the max depth. The average depth of these drill holes are around 100. So really big opportunity to test how open the system is. We know from looking at the other resources around us, Agni Eagles drilling further below to a kilometer depth and below, for example. The strike of Jaws as well is about 900 meters, so we want to be testing along strike to grow that as well to around 3 kilometers. In terms of other targets, Quantum and Lotus are two other orogenic gold targets. These have never been drill tested, but in 2025, really brought back excellent rock chip samples that were similar to Jaws, and we'd like to obviously test that this season properly with a drill. Another target will be Omega, and that is a banded iron formation gold target. A lot of the peers around us all have a portion of banded iron formation gold. It's a significant contributor to these sizable deposits in Nunavut. And so one that was initially has been undercover, but through aeromagnetics, we were able to see the folds and lithology contacts within this. So something that we really want to be testing for the first time this year as well with a drill. In terms of other targets, there's Vanquish. This is a new target acquired earlier this year. That sits 80 kilometers west of the Hook Lake, the broader Hook Lake project. It actually sits in a slightly different greenstone belt, the Kaminak greenstone belt. That had arsenic and gold till anomalies done in the 90s. That came back saying it was the most substantial in that greenstone belt. So exciting land for us to pick up. We've just completed the channel sampling there and rock chip sampling. That's the assay results are in the lab currently, so expect to hear news on that soon. And then finally, there's Spectre down here, and that is the high-grade volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit. That was actually drilled in the 70s as well. Shallow drilling done there, but with really high grades of copper, gold, and silver. You can see 3% copper, 95 grams per ton silver, and 1 gram per ton gold in that. So a little bit more information really on the ambition with Jaws. So you can see here in the blue dotted lines, this is the mineralized zone that we have for Jaws. So the 940 meter strike is what we're looking at for Jaws currently. The red being the mineralized zone. You can see in the colored dots essentially what the grades of those drill holes were hit in the 80s, and then the dark blue dots being really what we're going to be targeting this year. The target holes here within the mineralized zone are really about confirming the mineralization around this region. Then you've got strike extent drilling. The strike extensions have been done based on the IP anomalies that were done in the 80s as well, 89. So coincident IP anomalies. So a lot to test around these areas, suspecting arsenic, suspecting pyroxene and pyrite. Again, there's also a small mineralized zone here in the southwest, and there's no drilling done in the middle of that. It's about 500 meters. So we're looking to also do some infill drilling there. As part of this, we're also going to be doing a optical televiewer, and that's basically a camera downhole to imitate a diamond drill hole. So you get photos of what we're seeing below as well. In terms of what this actually looks like within the actual cross section, for the first drill hole we're doing, we'll actually be going with the mineralized zone. We really want to be familiarizing ourselves with the mineralization and the alteration styles. So it'll be going down dip. The hole will be about 250 meters, so going to much bigger depth, and it'll be at a different, slightly shallow angle to really test what could have been missed within these steep and historic holes, drill holes. And then the rest of the drill holes will be done in a sort of perpendicular angle. That's to the southeast, and that's really to understand the true width of the system and test the hanging walls within the mineralization. Second prospect I mentioned was Omega. I mentioned for this one that the Banana Formation gold is a significant contributor to gold resources amongst our local peers. This is untested by drilling as it's been undercover historically. The magnetic survey that we've done shows the lithology contacts here in the blue, and the folded BIF in the orange, and the structures in the red and red dotted lines. So these are targets for us with a drill. You will be targeting about 3 or 4 holes in this region, depending on what we find. Banana Formation gold can be, I guess, difficult to hit with a drill. Once you do that, you usually get significant grades. And then what we can do there really is that once you hit it here, then it's quite an exciting opportunity for us to push further along towards Moonraker, which is another prospect sitting 17 kilometers to the east. So it opens up quite a substantial section of further exploration for us. The other prospects that sit further to the south of Jaws, about 20 k's south, these are Quantum and Lotus. I mentioned earlier that in 2025, the rock chip sampling came out with some incredible results, really. So you're talking 8 grams per ton gold and 2,600 grams per ton silver. Similarly, 11 grams per ton gold and 1,400 grams per ton silver, for example, within these rock chip samples. Never been drill tested, so and identical mineralization really to Jaws. So exciting opportunity for us to be pursuing further this year as well. Finally, for the drill targets is Spectre. That's the volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit, VMS deposit. So that's an immediate upside potential from a polymetallic perspective. This is a hand-drawn drawing done in the 70s. You can see here 3 stacked lenses for the VMS deposit. Again, these have really high grades of copper, gold and silver. So really looking to confirm the drilling in this section, the mineralization in this section this year as well. In terms of the supporting exploration program that we're doing, till sampling, so quite an important step for us, but essentially soil sampling in WA or Australia. Really the idea here is this will help us understand the banded iron formation in more detail and prove up targets for next year as well. The channel sampling I mentioned earlier has been done. That's further to the west. So that's been done at Vanquish, the new prospect, and excited to be sharing results on that very, very soon as well. And then we've also been doing some aerial surveys. So the Aeromac survey that has been restarted now with 2 planes. So expecting, and that's also been expanded to cover the new prospect of Vanquish. So expecting more information on that very soon as well. And then we've just completed a LiDAR and orthophoto survey. This came to us as an opportunity. Basically, there's a plane in the area, so we got it for a significantly reduced cost, and it provides us with some excellent satellite imagery that's very detailed, and so should be really good information for us to have when it comes to not just further targeting, but also the engineering of the project. So a little bit about what the next steps look like. So over the next 3 to 4 months, you'll start to see regular exploration updates and assay results. The turnaround time for our assay results, you're looking at every Friday, we'll be sending assays to Yellowknife. They'll be tested. It's usually about a 2 to 3 week turnaround, depending on the backlog of what they might happen in for other mine sites around us, our exploration sites. So you can expect to see regular news really each week once all the drills now moving. So regular updates coming out soon from an assay perspective. Channel sampling. So that's just been completed at Vanquish, and I mentioned before the assays are actually at Yellowknife, so you can expect to see results in that very soon as well. RC drilling turning at jaws. So that'll be the first bit of information from a drilling perspective that you'll see coming out in the future, and then you'll start to see more information from Omega, Quantum, Lotus, and Spectre. The drilling we can expect to get around 150 meters a day, and so you can kind of do the maths on if we want to do 3,000 jaws, how long that would take to then shift onto the other prospects after that. And then we've got the LiDAR survey data, the aeromag data that we want to be sharing, and the till sampling data as well. All that to then package, really think about how we want to expand the program further this season, and then look at how we want to expand to a much larger program in 2027. I guess just to summarize quickly, what we're really excited about is that we're in an underexplored greenstone belt with real proven gold endowment. It's the first modern drill campaign on the project in 30 years. We're really excited to be testing the depth and along strike at jaws, and then really be testing these prospects as other prospects that have never been tested before. So yeah, thanks all for your time. Open for any questions now. My contact details are here as well if you want to discuss anything offline.
Great, thank you, Bay. That sounds like you've got some really good news flow that should be coming in the next few months on the Canadian project. Can you talk a bit about I guess the challenges of working in an environment, I guess it's reasonably close to the Arctic Circle. So
yeah, it's subarctic. I mean, it's essentially for us in the summer. It's essentially tundra. So the snow melts. It's tundra, just flat grass. So not expecting us to be operating in minus 30-degree conditions or anything like that. You can drill all year round where we are. It just gets more expensive with like downtime essentially. So I'd say the biggest challenge really is the seasonality aspect, but you want to be maximizing your summer season, getting as much drilling done as possible really around that season, because that's when you can move the helicopter much more easily, for instance, slinging the rig around. All that to say as well, though, actually, now that the camp is established, the camp is a significant upfront cost for us, but it's a permanent establishment. So now that that's there, you can usually start earlier in the season next year, for instance, in the future, and you can actually resupply the camps much more easily. So say, rather than, we've got an Esker strip, which is like a gravel strip at the moment for skid plane to be landing, which is great to have, easy to use. But now in the winter season, we'll be able to use local Inuit communities to help us resupply the camps in the winter over the winter, so they can actually do skidoo trains to pull fuel, food, and other supplies up to the camp.
And the funding, I know you've recently done the capital raise, but how long are you funded for? And I guess talk a bit about the costs associated with this season's drill campaign.
Yeah. So we basically this season drill campaign, well, the 4,000 meters is funded. Now that we're operating in a window, we want to see how we can expand this program further. So you're talking the biggest, as mentioned earlier, the biggest upfront cost is really establishing that camp.
Yeah.
Everything after that now is very much like a variable cost. So we can continue drilling up until the weather might go south, right? So and then it gets more expensive the further you try to push it. So it's really an open window for us to see how far we can go this season to when we'll pull the plug on and then just use the data and push for next year. So funded for this program, but if we want to do more than 4,000 meters, which we're looking at the moment, then obviously we'll need to look for more funding for that as well.
Yeah, yeah. I guess sort of pivoting a little bit. You mentioned a farming agreement in process for the Tibooburra asset. Could you sort of, I guess, describe what your financial exposure would be there once that's all sorted?
Yeah, so they've just completed they completed the first stage a little while ago. They're actually we're looking at what we're doing for the second stage. So that's progressing nicely. The way it's split is, once they hit a $1.5 million dollar investment in the actual drilling of Tibooburra and there's northern tenements, that would be a 70-30 split in the assets. So it's really for us to progress further. You'll see more basically on what Novo's plans are for drilling at Tibooburra soon as well.
Okay. Pivoting back to Hook Lake. Once the drilling campaign is finished and you have results, what are the next steps that you see for moving forward with Hook Lake?
Yeah. So obviously, thinking about how we expand the program this season, if we do say 6,000 to 7,000 meters, for instance, then you're talking. You'll see assay results through to say November. We'll be using that data, the till sampling, the area mags, the drilling data to really crunch how we want to be tackling 2027. So all that information, we'll have a wealth really of knowledge from the program that we're doing now to look at basically doubling that program. So really want to be wrapping it up next year.
Yeah, yeah. So fairly going to be very busy for the next year or so with everything.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's obviously happening right now. Teams out there working very hard. The drill's moving 24/7 really. So exciting time. And then basically towards the start of next year, all over the summer, you'll see a lot more information coming out about what our plans are for this for the 2027 field season as well. So it's going to be non-stop for sure.
Good. And just a quick question on the relationship you have with the communities and I guess the government support. It does sound like there's a lot of good support from both the local communities and the government for reasons that vary from probably social all the way through to geopolitics. So could you talk a bit about how those relationships are developed and maintained?
Yeah, I mean Eric Sondergaard, the technical advisor on the project, he's really holds those relationships closely. We'll be doing, we do regular sort of engagement sessions with the two communities there. So looking to do that again towards the end of this program. The way it works for us really is that we have these two agreements on the Inuit owned land, and then the remaining portion of it's about half and half. The remaining portion of the land is Crown land. the process for Crown is a lot easier in that you actually just apply online for the tenure of the tenement in Australia, and then you just show what you're spending on exploration. So it's actually quite a cheap process. And Inuit own land is really making sure you have that two-way relationship in place. So it's obviously very important to have and be engaging regularly. I'd say the biggest interests for them are really around community support. So how are you gonna employ locally where possible? Then also just like not affecting the wildlife around you. So caribou is a big interest for them. People want to be hunting caribou around their communities. So for us, when caribou do come through to the camp, for instance, a bit of a stop, let them pass through, and then you keep working after that.
Yeah, great. And I guess if we kind of think a bit further out into the future, once you've proved up Hook Lake to your satisfaction, is this a project that you will look to develop yourselves, or is it one that you would actively look for partners or some variation between that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say now. I mean, we see this as a significant district scale project. So we could put all our money into JAWS, and that would be a great resource to be building out. But we see this as a much more substantial project than that. Obviously, we're surrounded by some excellent peers. Who we actually do engage with from a geology perspective quite regularly. So, who knows in the future? Yes, we look to expand this into something, or is it a joint venture, or does it get sold longer term? But yeah, it's hard to say now what that looks like.
So lots of optionality.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you, Bay. It's been a really interesting discussion and a great presentation. So thanks for sharing your description of Manhattan Gold and its journey to where it is now with new management. So looks like you've got some exciting times ahead. So thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you, Anthony. Thanks all for joining.
Thank you.